want that Brock Lawley guy stopped immediately.
And now your host, Brock Lawley.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Brock Lawley program. My name is Brock Lawley. This is what I want to talk to you about. All right, they call it PC. That's what term we've given it, and it's a frustrating thing. Political correctness is something that most people have become aware of. It's a very polarizing term because it threatens power, it threatens control. We all know some of this stuff, but I want to broaden it to just truth, right? When we talk about political correctness, what we're really talking about is stifling the truth, right? You're not allowed to tell the truth. You're not allowed to tell the truth. I mean, I can rattle off a bunch of things right now that would just crawl under your skin as a modern 2016 citizen who's, swallowed the political correct pill, and now it's just changed your DNA and in a reaction to truth. For example, if you were to say to a woman today, well, your professional endeavors at the sacrifice of your personal life is not a cocktail for happiness. The reason that you're having such a hard time with work-life balance is because, women have an inclination to be married. Women have an inclination to have children. These are just biological facts. To deny them just causes frustration in a human being because those things are like eating, sleeping, drinking water. The human being just is made this way. So you say that's just true, right? Biologically, it's true. We know women have menstrual cycles. We just know a lot of the stuff is just biological. Women just have a gravitational pull towards procreation and all these different things. Well, society has just said, well, we just don't like that truth. We just don't like it, and we're going to build a whole bunch of politically correct barricades around it. We're not going to allow people to discuss it. We're certainly not going to allow civil discussion to come anywhere near it. And if you do, we're going to call you all kinds of names. Those names are going to be what? Misogynistic, sexist, so on and so forth. Right? I mean, it's the world we live in, right? You're not allowed to tell the truth. I mean, what else? African American culture, right? It's statistically much poorer than other caveats of society. Children do not perform as well in this education system. The unemployment rates are skyrocketing. We have crime rates that are just radically different than the population rate. It's just, the numbers are just horrific when you look at them with naked, sober eyes by way of stats, right? So what are you not allowed to say? Well, you're not allowed to say that the home's completely broken in the African American community, that there's fatherlessness, that education has not become a priority in the home, that, there are all kinds of cultural, pop culture influences that are negative. There is things about the setup of African American culture which is destructive to African American culture. There are practices that are like toxic within what is deemed as normal, what is deemed as acceptable, how it's very, very acceptable. And this is becoming much broader, by the way. This is not just the African American community, but it's very, very acceptable to have multiple children outside of wedlock. It's very, very acceptable and very common to see teenage pregnancy, so on and so forth. These are all facts. We know this because of the census. We know this because of hard social science numbers. These aren't Brock in any way. It's just, I could be reading legitimately off of White House statistics. And yet, you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about it. Why? Because you will be called a racist. So again, there are all these barricades, there are all these moats, there are all these intellectual barriers between truth and what you're allowed to say. Truth and what you're allowed to say are not allowed to meet in this way. So what do? We throw in a bunch of nonsense, like it's all socioeconomic related, it's white privilege, it's Western culture's educational system. I mean, after all, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 everywhere. It's just here in Whitey White McWhiteville, KKK America. And all kinds of stuff that divorces the problem from the solution, right? And purposely so, in my opinion, because it is all a power play. But ladies and gentlemen, political correctness is really just another way of saying anti-truth, or the rejection of truth, or the refusal to do business with truth. That's what it is. That's what it is. And then it begs the question. If you've experienced this in your life, it begs the question, why? Well, the why should come when you look at power, right? There's phrases like, speak truth to power. Well, that phrase didn't just emerge. The reason that it's difficult to speak truth to power is because truth is a huge threat to power, right? Power will completely set up its own sort of talking points and its own, line of thinking, its own template, and that's obviously going to just that's not designed to illuminate minds. That's not even designed to solve problems. It's just designed to reinforce the power structure. And so where we find ourselves as a people is that there is just so many competing interests for power today. There's just so many. Media, influence, obviously the political realm, the financial realm. Then you have all the corporate interests, and then you have people obviously, wanting you to buy product, and so on and so forth. That truth dies on the altar every time, twice on Sunday. There is so much invested in maintaining power in our society today. The truth, it doesn't have enough air to breathe. It can't survive. A people would have to choose to break stride with this system, so we're all school of fish and we're all swimming in this and we're all susceptible to this. But you would have to say, no, I'm going to reject that. And I'm going to look at it anew. And the only thing that I'm going to be loyal to is the truth. That's it. That's going to be my true north. I'm not going to care about what I thought was right or wrong politically. I'm not going to think about the ramifications of thinking that way. I'm not going to think about the social consequences of changing my mind or thinking a second time. My only compass in this journey is going to be truth. What is true? And here's why this is important. Truth is like air or disinfectant to a wound. It is the only way. There's not a second way. It's the only way that it will heal. It is the only way to clean the infection from it, to clean the pus and the very cause of the infection. The truth is the only way to do that. And yes, it burns and it often feels unpleasant, specifically on the front end. But quite frankly, it is the only correction mechanism that exists. It is the only way to find yourself out of the labyrinth of lies. It is the only way to rebuild something that is broken. Truth is it. That's the only way. And when society does not allow that mechanism, so if there is no way to reset the bones of our mangled thought, our misinformation, and all the things that we stake our claims on today, which are just factually incorrect or built on a house of lies or motivated by somebody else's power or whatever the case may be, then we have no chance of self-correcting. We know we're adrift. I mean, most people just sense that in their souls. I think that accounts for all this pop culture, doomsday stuff. It's hugely popular right now. I think it accounts for the mood in the nation. We don't think our best years are in front of us. I think it's all because we realize there's no way, we have not been allowed or afforded the tools to fix it. We just sense that. We can't talk to each other. We can't talk to each other openly. We can't discuss things as they are. We all work and live and socialize, and our society in all its aspects, it's all navigating around this huge elephant in our lives, and where nobody's allowed to say, look at the stinking elephant. It's right there. Nobody's allowed to do that in any aspect. Gender, race, socioeconomics. I mean, look, You have this is a case in point. You have $20 trillion in debt. 20 trillion with a T, trillion. Do the math on that. It's baffling. It's like another stratosphere of thinking. You have that as a reality, firm, mathematic reality, right? And a major political party campaigns by saying the word spend and free 781 times in this campaign. How untethered from reality is that? How divorced from the ground is that? Doesn't matter, because truth doesn't matter. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason you should reject political correctness isn't because I'm conservative and you're a liberal. And political correctness, I'm not supposed to be against political correctness. No, what you're saying is you're for truth. These sayings are so trite, right? The truth will set you free. It's true. It's totally true. We can't self-correct. We can't heal. We can't come back from it if we're not allowed to say what is true. Thank you for listening to the Brock Lawley program.
À Brock Lawley Productions.